Stokes' ex-wife Mona Morton says that she knows all the allegations and all they're true. So
So there's been a bunch of allegations about him being a manager type, a typical manager
a Diddy
allegations.
manager type.
Yeah, where you're basically influencing young artists to do lewd acts either by just watching them or both partaking in them. So those are kind of the allegations that we're dealing with. But we got a video clip here.
We got a video clip. Refreshing your memory of who Chris Stokes is and why he's so infamous.
Quentin Tarver and Raz B both exposed Chris Stokes and Marcus Houston in this video. They're saying that Marcus Houston was groomed by Chris Stokes and Chris Stokes used Marcus Houston to groom the rest of them. I will say that this is a trigger warning because they talk about some explicit things. A lot of people didn't believe Raz B when he first came out and said this. Now people are starting to wake up. The music industry is filled with hidden agendas. They also take advantage of these artists in different ways.
Yeah, Chris did the same. See, Chris would try to work through the kids and work through Marcus because he already got Marcus at a young age. And he would work through Marcus to see it. You sick. You know what? This is the type of stuff that makes me upset.
That's nasty.
I didn't know what was going on. Them something, but they was in the bathroom. I'm on the tour bus. Oh my God. The far back, in the back of the tour bus, the main room.
Yeah, I mean, yep. Everything that you're talking about, Quentin, I used to walk through the same. Chris used to
didn't feel safe working with your former manager and producer, Chris Stokes, who you came out against for the sexual abuse and, allegations. Did you know what was going on?
People, when they're being abused, they typically don't know when they're being abused. And it's typically by someone that's close to them. You're just kind of caught up in the moment when you're at a young age. When you're a kid, you don't know the difference between the front and the back down.
Is it because, he was a family member why you never decided to press, criminal charges?
There was a time, I believe there were some filed back in 2011, but, especially when it's somebody that's a family member, your mom is close. She's my second cousin. That's my mom's first cousin.
Right.
They're all from Cleveland. So it's whatever you're going through, my mom would say, vengeance is the Lord's.
So that's your actual blood cousin?
Yeah, my second cousin.
Do you forgive Chris Stokes?
Ended like that. I mean, clearly, he doesn't forgive Chris Stokes, but I mean, this is a crazy situation. Imagine your second cousin do this to you, but it's been going on for a long time. Like I said before, in '92, he had Marcus Houston.
Marcus Houston always seemed like a weirdo to me.
Exactly.
He had a creeper face.
True that. And then on top of that, remember, we just found out about him and his little 20-year-old wife. That was a whole.
Oh yeah, that's super crazy. She was a missing person from the time she was 15, and then the moment she turns 18, she pops up and marries him.
It's just weird. It's that Hollywood.
It's did he have her in a closet or something?
He probably did. I mean, it's that Hollywood stuff. So I mean, Chris Stokes had a Marcus Houston first. He did what he had to do with Marcus Houston. Then they end up meeting this Quentin Trevor person in '95. And then he ended up messing with him. And then after that, allegedly in 2001, they had B2K. Raz B had his situation. And they're talking about times where I'm guessing Chris Stokes did nothing to them, but he orchestrated it.
I got to believe Raz B. He seems like he's traumatized. He seems like there's something wrong with him. He's still mentally messed up to it to this day. Just hearing him talking and stuff, he almost seems like he's mentally damaged to this day, I guess you could say.
True, he is. And I mean, you can see it a lot. When the Millennium Tour happened, the tour that he had to do with Bow Wow does with all the retro acts him, Bow Wow, B2K, Omarion, Pretty Ricky, them. They went on tour. Chris Stokes came on tour to do something, and then he ended up having to break down and leaving. And it was oh, it's either him or me. So I mean, Raz B's taking this pretty seriously. I mean, even though he's not going full-fledged and going to the cops about it, and he hasn't went to the cops about it since then.
Didn't people get on Omarion because he didn't
stand up? He didn't stand up for him.
He was that because he was standing up for Stokes.
Yeah. And
saying no, this is not true. This is a money grab. This is just some weird stuff. And then years later, he was yeah, I talked to Raz B, and I don't know what happened to him, but something definitely happened to him.
So. I mean, this is a whole crazy situation. I mean, it's just discussing how Hollywood is and how everybody just wants your butt. It makes no sense. There's no way around it.
Dwight Howard or Diddy?
Dwight Howard, Diddy, Will Smith.
Oh, what's his T.D. Jakes?
Reverend T.D. Jakes.
No, T.D. Jakes don't want your butt. He wants something else.
Oh, God.
He wants the stick shift.
Pause. But I mean, it's just a crazy situation. I mean, Chris Stokes. What makes this even funnier is that the wife, Money Morton, he put it on his wife that the reason why all these allegations can't be true. He's like, I have a wife. I've been over for 14 years. We have kids together. I can't be gay. I can't be gay. Then turns out that she comes out here years later and says, yeah, it was true. It goes to show you can't believe people for ish.
It's like, it's just like they said. I was seeing on Instagram that Kanye's new wife was like walking around and like it looked like that she had like the strap-on pants and like, snap, Kanye's getting pegged. They're like, this isn't the man that made Graduation.
I mean, it's good. I told you it gets crazy in Hollywood. Like it just never fails. Cat Williams told you about this. Dave Chappelle told you about this. I mean, and it's just
funny. It's like I really like Marlon Wayans, but it's funny how mad he got out of his comments because it was like, yeah, like I think you're like over projecting because he's like White Chicks was a great movie.
Oh yeah,
it doesn't matter that I wore a dress and it's like all this stuff, but it's like they wore like a dress like when it was like pure comedy, and it's like the other times wherever those dudes dressed like chicks, like it wasn't. It was like they were playing it off as comedy, but it was like more sus comedy than real comedy. Where White Chicks, you could tell like that's like a real like comedy.
But didn't they produce White Chicks? Then like I think because
they made it.
Wayans,
so, like
the Wayans brothers, they had a whole production. They make their own movies. So I mean, you can make movies in the dress because you produce all your movies.
Yeah.
So I mean, it really doesn't.
They weren't forced into it. It's different when you choose to do it versus when they're like, hey, like with Kevin Hart, we have this role where you wear a dress and then Shaq's like a fake cop and he humps you in the car. Does that sound like fun?
Exactly. So I mean,
would you get humped by Shaq for $100K? Like for fun, like not for real.
I mean,
like for a skit.
Let's see.
Like where Shaq's like,
I've done
putting you on the hood. You've done worse.
I've done worse for a cheeseburger. So yeah, I do it.
Oh my Lord.
I mean, sometimes I was on my Ruby Rose vibe.
You're gonna get a call from T.D. Jakes.
Pause, nah.
And Chris Stokes.
Definitely don't want. Line one. Definitely don't want that phone call. But I mean,
they're gonna be like,
"Damn, son, where'd you find this?"
That's disturbing. But the crazy part is, like, even though this happened to Marcus Houston allegedly, and Omarion knows something. Why I'm still wondering, like, why won't they call this out? Is it because like they done lied about it for so long that if you come out with it and say, "Oh yeah, it was a lie"?
I think they were kind of selective. It seems like they were selective on who they tortured and who they didn't. It seems like they kind of chose people that were maybe, I guess you could say, weak mentally, or ones that they thought were weak mentally that they could kind of abuse and pass
around,
do in the shadows. And didn't it say that one dude that was a singer that had like the big birthmark on his face?
Yeah.
That he got traumatized and he actually told someone, and then they took away all of his opportunities.
Yeah.
And sent him home.
Because so basically what's going on, he was signed with him too. That Quentin Trevor person, he was signed to Chris Stokes and them too, and it turns out that he ended up telling like not Latoya Luckett, Janae Aiko's sisters, because Janae Aiko has a big family, and Janae Aiko is real close with Omarion and Marcus Houston, because Omarion's brother used to go with I think he used to go with one of Janae Aiko's sisters. They have a kid together, so it's like a long history. They real close. So they close together. He told them what happened. She told the other sister. The other two sisters told Chris Stokes. And, they all work together. They're all family. So they all like pushed him to the side because he ain't family. So it's just crazy in Hollywood how everybody's just out to get you. Nobody's out here to make sure that you don't get any harm done to you.
No, they're trying to do the harm.
Yeah, you hear that.
They're trying to take advantage of you.
Do you hear that? You hear the story about the Disney Channel kids, they getting taken advantage of. It's like,
oh yeah, they've always been traumatized.
Exactly. Then on top of that, they over there trying to connect this with R. Kelly.
Out the way she did.
Facts. But enough